Ball in hand positions in pool. You can either make your life super difficult or you can make it super easy, and I'm gonna cover a couple of very interesting 8-ball situations that you can also of course use in other games. So first situation, we wanna get on the 8. So what you could do is play it into the corner, use low on the cue ball and draw the cue ball back. This worked out great, but it's difficult because first of all, you're crossing the straight line of the 8-ball. You wanna come into the line, so this is not how you're gonna do it. Of course, you can also use just a bit more angle. Try to draw the cue ball back once again. Come to the other side. And yes, this looks easy, and I have once again a straight-in shot on the 8-ball, but you're working against the natural roll of the cue ball, the natural force. So instead, what you want to do in the future, just take ball in hand, play the ball into the side pocket, just use a tiny bit of an angle, and then play a follow shot. And then you will see the cue ball comes into the rail, bounces out, and you're going nicely into the line of the 8-ball. This is much easier. If you're not feeling comfortable with that, at least what you can also do is, if you don't want to hit a rail, just use a bit more angle than before. Just like that. Use a follow shot and come down like this. This is also much easier to control than just trying to draw the cue ball back. In this situation, we have a ball hanging in the pocket. And what you could do is, if you're putting the cue ball to here, you can just try to stun the cue ball into the rail and come back into the line of the 8-ball. And this is not a really nice 8-ball you're having here. So what did I do wrong? Well, I hit it too soft, so I'm trying to do it again. This time I was hitting too hard and well, we got lucky to have the 8-ball into the side, but this is not very controlled. So what could you do instead? Well, what you could also do, which I don't really like, is you can just try to hit the ball thin and hit that rail next to the side pocket, come over, no spin on the cue ball, hit this point on the rail right here and then come into the line. And you see, you don't really want to do that because that side pocket is just so big. So this is also not what you want to do. So what else could you do? Well, if you're a left-handed player, you have the advantage to do that, where we're just cutting the ball very, very thin, just coming down like this. But once again, it's tricky. We're not coming really into the line. It's very difficult to judge the exact line of the cue ball. So what could we do instead? Well, there's a very simple fix that works for left and right-handed players. What you want to do instead of putting the cue ball to here, you want to bring the cue ball all the way to here, because now you have a different direction that you're shooting to. Remember before you were shooting into that direction, now you're shooting more into that direction, you're way closer to the ball. And here, all you have to do to come nicely into the line is basically do nothing, just cut the ball and come nicely down to the 8-ball. It's so much more controlled. Of course, you still gotta be accurate with where you're exactly hitting the ball, but once again, see, all I need to do is just cut that in and the cue ball comes nicely down towards the 8-ball. It's super simple and it's the easiest way to play that shot here. Also a very common situation. So when you're taking ball in hand, what you could do once again, trying to bring the cue ball to here, and then bounce out and come into the line. So let's give that a try. Once again, I'm not using any spin. Over to here and then nicely into the line. But once again, you spot it. It's very, very tricky to avoid that side pocket. So what you could do is, if you want to avoid that side pocket a bit better, then you could use some right spin, just a tiny bit. Let's see what can happen here. Just using right spin, I can easily go way too far to here. And now I have an 8-ball that is possible, but is way too difficult. So let's look for another solution here. And the simplest solution that you could do is just gonna be pretty much approximately the same, just a bit less angle. And now you're gonna stun the ball into here and come nicely into the line to here. That way the side pocket never gets into the way. It's easier to control and you're coming nicely and very closely to that straight line of the 8-ball once again. This is the easiest way to play the shot. Very important, you're playing with low, you're gonna stun the ball. Don't put the cue ball that far away, this is very difficult. Just bring the cue ball close, If you want to use a touch of right spin and low, come to here and then nicely into the line of the 8-ball. What do you want to do here with ball in hand? Well, one option would be to give yourself a bit of an angle. Don't use any spin on the cue ball, just like that, and come just one rail down to the 8-ball, just like that. But once again, it's a bit tricky. If you're just coming a bit too far, you're having no shot on the 8-ball, so this is very difficult to judge. So what else could you do? Well, remember, we can also hit that rail and come into the line of the 8-ball. So I'm giving myself, once again, a bit of an angle. I'm gonna use right spin to make the cue ball come to here and then into the line of the 8-ball. You can see just like that, bit soft, but we have a great shot on the 8-ball, and once again, the cue ball is traveling a really nice line. But I don't really like that shot here because you can't really judge 100% where the cue ball is gonna hit. You have to use right spin. You don't want to use spin. So instead, let's just put the cue ball once again to here and give ourselves a natural angle to come to here where we don't even have to use spin. So you just want to find the right angle. You can see the closer you're getting, the more the cue ball is coming to here. The straighter you're getting, the more the cue ball is gonna hit here. Once again, I think if we're hitting here, that would be nice. I'm just gonna use a bit of high, using that angle. And then you can see once the ball hits the rail here, hit it a bit too soft, but the cue ball travels perfectly into that direction. And this is so easy. But imagine the 8-ball is down here. What should you do now? Well, remember, if you're using more angle, the cue ball comes more down. So I would say I'm just gonna give myself a bit more angle. Maybe like that, just play a high ball. And the cue ball will hit now that middle diamond and comes nicely and super natural down to the 8-ball. It can't get any easier. This is also a very common situation. So what you could do is just give yourself an angle, and then you want to use right spin and just right spin on the cue ball. Watch what happens. Cue ball comes a couple of rails, should hit approximately here, and then you will have an easy shot on the 8-ball. But once again, you're having ball in hand and you have to really move the cue ball a lot. You have to use spin, and especially if you're a beginner, this is not really the way to go. What else could you do? Well, we can also play the same shot, but we can use low and left and try to draw the cue ball to here. Especially as a left-handed player, this is not ideal. And if you don't get the quality and the low into it, then you will not have a nice shot on the 8-ball. So what else could we do? Remember, we want to keep it simple. When we're having ball in hand, we don't want to make it too difficult. So one more option would be to just give yourself an almost straight-in shot and then just draw the cue ball back. This is very predictable and you have a great shot on the 8-ball, but it's not the best option because drawing the cue ball is always against its natural roll. So what you could do instead is, yes, I know the 13 ball is close to that pocket, but if you're not feeling comfortable with the draw shot, just play the ball into that pocket, use high, follow the ball, and bring the cue ball way more controlled down to the 8-ball and leave yourself a straight-in shot on the 8. This right here is a really interesting one that I see so many players do wrong, even advanced players. So you're having ball in hand, of course, we want to shoot the 8-ball into here. So what I see a lot of people do is just trying to give yourself straight-in shot or close to straight and draw the cue ball back to here. And yes, this is very doable, but once again, you have to draw the cue ball, and if you just miss-hit the ball a bit, the side pocket comes into play. So what else could you do? Well, remember, we want to use a natural ball, a natural roll of the cue ball. And in my opinion, this is the most predictable path you could choose. So just give yourself a bit of an angle on that one, and then we're just gonna bump into the rail, then to here, and then we will always have a great shot on the 8-ball. So this is way more natural. Just gonna use a touch of right spin. Now see, once the cue ball hits here, it's for a very, very long time great on the 8-ball. And all you have to do is just understand the angle you want to use and then just roll the ball in. So one more time, just like that. You want to have it natural, like this, touch of right spin. Now hit here, and you can see you will always have a really, really easy shot on the 8-ball. And speed control is so much easier to calculate compared to drawing the cue ball back. Because most people, especially beginners, they're trying to draw the cue ball back. First of all, it gets a bit uncontrolled. You don't really know how far you're gonna draw, and you don't exactly know where you're gonna hit. So this can easily go wrong. You can see just like that, and you scratched and you lost the game. And just a couple of things I've noticed many of my students do whenever they're taking ball in hand. The probably biggest mistake beginners do when they're taking ball in hand, let's say once again we want to come down to the 8-ball, and they're putting the cue ball to this position. So the problem here is, yes, of course, you could do it like that, bring the cue ball down, but you see already, speed control is a bit more tricky. And not only speed control, but also seeing the exact angle, maintaining the rotation on the cue ball you want to get. So instead of putting the cue ball so far away, please put the cue ball close to the object ball, because not only is seeing the exact cutting angle on the ball much easier, also feeling the speed and getting the exact rotation onto the ball is much easier, especially if you're using low or high. Because you know, low or high gets lost on its way to the ball compared to left and right spin. So if you're putting the ball so far away, you might gonna hit low on the cue ball, but look what happens if I'm hitting too soft. The ball starts rolling and won't follow the tangent line. If I would have just put the cue ball closer to the ball, this is just so much easier to maintain that momentum on the cue ball because it doesn't get lost. So look at that. Much easier to control. And once again, you have a great shot on the 8-ball. So if you want to learn how to play pool, then I would definitely recommend to subscribe to my channel for more lessons. We made that 8-ball awesome. And of course, leave a comment down below, and I will see you at the next one. Take care.